Welcome to my webinar today. My name is Randi Fine, and I am a narcissistic abuse expert and coach. Today, the topic of the webinar is, why me? How did I end up in an abusive relationship with a narcissist? If you have been in an abusive relationship with a narcissist, you have no doubt asked yourself that question. And it's a question I get asked all the time. Very typical, because you wonder if you're the only one, what it was that got you sucked into this. And really, just in general, it's very easy to get sucked into a narcissistic relationship. And self-blame is really not appropriate here, because nobody does anything wrong. But it just turns out that narcissists are just brilliant manipulators. And the way that we think, we have no ability to relate to this or spot it unless we've learned exactly what they do, how they do it. And today I want to give you that education. So the first question that everybody asks me is, what attracts narcissists? And many people will say that if you had a childhood where you had some kind of abuse or narcissistic abuse, that sets you up, and that's really what causes it. That's one reason, but it's not all the reasons. And so I want to go through all the different reasons, all the different ways that you can attract a narcissist. So they're initially attracted to people who are excessively nice, pleasant, agreeable, people who easily forgive or overlook off-putting, offensive, or undesirable behavior. And by that I mean, narcissists will generally test you in the beginning by throwing something out there that somebody with very strong boundaries or somebody with very high self-esteem would be so off-put by it that they would walk away. And the narcissist really is testing each person, each target, to see how well they can manipulate them. Another category of people who are initially, or narcissists are initially attracted to, is people who are vulnerable and naive, people who are young and innocent, those who are unfamiliar with our customs, or those suffering from trauma or loss. Vulnerable and naive, just meaning that you haven't experienced a lot in this world, or you believe that everybody is wonderful and you just want to accept everybody on those terms. You want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, which used to be okay back in the 50s and 60s. It's not okay now because we live in a highly predatory world. Young and innocent, again, unprepared, really very little experience in terms of dating and relationships. Unfamiliar with customs. So if somebody's coming from another country, a narcissist can use our customs to make them feel like they need to rely on the narcissist. And suffering from trauma or loss. So this makes somebody very vulnerable. And for instance, if somebody's coming out of a marriage, they had a wonderful marriage for 30 some years, and their partner died, and they're grieving, and now after all those years, they're out there again. And they want to date. They want to meet people. And they're very vulnerable because they just assume that everybody's going to be like their ex. And they can very easily be taken advantage of. The third category is those who are highly empathetic and understanding. People who are willing to rescue someone who represents themselves as suffering, wounded, betrayed, or victimized. You know, narcissists are really good at playing the victim. And they're really good at making people think that they've just been targeted so many times. They've always been the victim of somebody's problem. It's never them. So when they start talking about, oh, my ex had a drug problem, my ex had mental illness, my ex drank too much, he or she cheated on me so many times, and it's this victimhood. And somebody who is highly compassionate will probably say to them, I am so sorry that happened to you. I would never do anything like that to you. And they really fall for it. And they think, so a lot of times narcissists will say, if you really listen to what they say, they'll tell you the truth. So they may say, I have to be honest with you. I don't know how to love in a healthy way. I don't think I've ever loved in a healthy way. Well, that sounds like they need some help. And if you're a compassionate person or an empathetic person, the natural tendency is to say, oh, I will love you so much, you will know what love is. But these are all tests. The fourth category is of who narcissists are initially attracted to is those who have weak or undefined boundaries. These are people who are easily manipulated or swayed in conversation, people who are unable to say no, people who lack self-esteem, who have undefined values, and undefined wants or needs. They don't really know who they are, know what they want. They're looking for someone to lead them. And we must be very careful if this is the way that we are, not to show that initially, because we will get sucked in. Predators, such as narcissists in particular, look for these weaknesses in people. And generally, if you're a really nice person and you're a really honest person and you're a really open person, first time you meet this person, you're going to just tell them all. And we have to be really careful not to do that, because they're listening and they're watching for these little cues. And when they see them, they know they're in. Now, the last category is something that may surprise you, because this is not necessarily any kind of weakness or naivety. This happens to be the exact opposite. So people who are successful, attractive, or popular, these can be very attractive to a narcissist because they are preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success and talents, and they want to benefit from the achievements or status of others and achieve greatness through that association. So they want to align themselves with people who are accomplished, people who are very smart, people who are famous, things like that. They may choose somebody who's a great moneymaker, who's at the top of their field, and they want that. They want to live through that. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the person, is overly nice, overly agreeable, weak boundaries. They are just successful, and narcissists will prey upon that. So the second thing I want to talk about is we all see red flags in the beginning. And the question that people ask me is, why did I ignore them? I saw them. I didn't want to marry this person. I saw the red flags. I knew it. And then I was in. What is wrong with me? Well, nothing is wrong with you. And just as an aside, narcissists have a brilliant ability. It's not a brilliance we want to have, but it's a brilliant ability to brainwash somebody very, very quickly, within days. they can sort of burrow into your psyche and get in there and start really changing the way that you think. And once that happens, it's very difficult to see the truth because a veil is put over your eyes. So red flags that appear in the beginning of relationships with narcissists these are the typical ones. A highly charismatic or sympathy-evoking personality. They can be very charismatic. They can be the life of the party and it's just so much fun. And you can really click with this person because they just have it all. Or they can just be really low and playing the victim like we talked about earlier. The second red flag that we see a lot is claiming that you are their soulmate when they hardly know you. And sometimes it could be even before they meet you. So if you've met on a dating app or something like that, and you're communicating with the person, and they say like, I can't believe it, I finally met my soulmate. Or they start telling you that they love you when they don't even know you. But it feels so good to hear that. And for people who are out there and they're lonely and looking for companionship, this is a way to get sucked in. The third red flag is irresistible chemistry that quickly leads to intense sexual experiences. So in the beginning, they're going to maybe invite you to their house for dinner or ask you to have them over for dinner. They want to put you in a place where they can then weaken you. And because there's this fire between you that the narcissist has created, the sexual urges are powerful. And when you finally do have these relations, it is mind-blowing. It puts you on such a high. So they know this, and they want to get you in bed as quickly as they possibly can. If you hold out, they may go away. So the fourth thing is feeling so high on the person that rational decision-making is compromised. This happens in every case. You think that you're just in seventh heaven, you know? You think you've just met the best person for you. And you cannot believe your luck. And you are high. Part of that high is coming from the brain chemicals that are being stimulated by the narcissist. The ones that are very much like drugs. So it causes you to sort of get addicted to this person, and you're so high that you cannot think of anything else. And logic just leaves you. The fifth one, mirroring your personality, experiences, interests, or beliefs to demonstrate an undeniable connection. They do this, they mirror. And like I said before, the more information you give in the beginning, the more difficult it's going to be to tell if they're mirroring. But what you'll notice is, as you think back, is that you matched in so many ways that were uncanny. And you may not remember the things that you said. You may not remember all of them. You may remember some of them. But narcissists pick up on cues. They listen to everything that you say. And they're looking for answers to how they can mirror you. So in their previous relationship, they may have been atheists. If they meet somebody in this relationship who is religious or observant, all of a sudden they are going to be religious or observant. And they can fake it really, really well. They can carry that out for quite a while too. Um, the sixth red flag, moving the relationship along too fast, pressuring you into commitment or marriage before you are ready. Some of them will hang around for a while. Really what they want to do is make sure that they capture you as an emotional hostage. And so they may have to work a little harder at it, but they often want to push this along quickly. And you may have gotten married very quickly. You may have gotten pregnant very quickly. You may, or if you're a man, she may have gotten pregnant very quickly. Whatever it is to sort of trap you, because they're not going to show their abusive side until they're certain that they've captured you as an emotional hostage. So once they get you married, once they get you engaged, once you move in together, all of those things, in their mind, they've got you, okay? What they wanted to do has happened. And now they let down all the pretenses and the abuse begins. Number 7, unbalanced history sharing. Narcissists will focus on every detail of your life while offering little about theirs. Or they may talk endlessly about themselves and ask nothing or little from you. And I always tell people, when you first meet these narcissists, they do what I call the interview. The interview is just as I said. They will ask you a lot of questions about yourself because they want to know where every one of your hot buttons is. And you think that you've met your best friend, your soulmate, and you trust this person immensely. So you open up. And this interview is this is where they learn exactly how to hurt you. The way they're going to hurt you is not the way they will hurt other people, have hurt other people, will in the future. This is customized to you. And this is revealed in the interview stage. Number 8, bad mouthing their exes, claiming they were unfaithful, they had substance abuse issues, they were violent, they were mentally unstable. Most people don't need to do this. But as I talked about earlier in the first section, they need to become victims. They need to show you that they've been victimized because they're appealing to your empathetic nature. They know that normal people have an empathetic nature. They know they don't, but they know that you do. And so they will badmouth their exes and say things about them. This is a story or a narrative that can be carried on through your entire relationship, and you will always believe it. You'll always believe that that ex, that last wife, that last husband was so abusive or so mentally ill that they couldn't properly raise the children. I mean, the stories that you'll get can be very believable. Everything that a narcissist says has some level of plausibility to it, some level. But the narrative is created in a way that represents the narcissist in the light that he or she wishes to be seen. So you will always find something that you can grab onto that could be plausible. It could be. And I say, just make sure that you verify. Whatever you're being told, do not take anything at face value. If they're telling you something about their family or their past, and you have not personally experienced it, assume it's a lie or that it's embellished. And I'll say to people, they'll tell me about this. They'll say, oh, she had the worst ex or he had the worst ex. And, and he's just coming out of such a terrible relationship. No wonder he acts the way he does. And I say, well, have you met this person? Well, no, but I know, she was a raving lunatic. He was put in a mental hospital, whatever it is. And they will tell you these things, and you'll be like, wow, now I get it. Now I know why that didn't work out. But until you verify it, it cannot be believed. And most of what narcissists say are lies. Like I said, they're lies. There's kernels of truth. There's plausibility to what they say. But most of what they tell you is a recreated narrative. And the last one, number 9, of the red flags that can get you caught up in this. Narcissists play perpetual victim. They take no responsibility for the problems of their past. They blame everything on others. Perpetual victims. Because of the construct of this psychological disorder, narcissists do not have the ability to internalize, download, accept anything negative about them, even if it's just a gentle thing. Even if it's like, I really wish you would have said that a different way. Or you could be cussing them out. Either way, it's the same. But they cannot they cannot take negativity. So what happens is it doesn't go in, it just rolls off of them like Teflon. It's like, and it goes onto you. It's projected onto you. So anytime you confront a narcissist about their behavior or something you don't like about it or something you wish they would change, it will be reversed and turned on you. This is just a mechanism. They cannot internalize negativity. They just can't. This psychological construct of this disorder cannot, just like the blind can't see, narcissists cannot internalize negativity. So they have to throw it off of them very quickly. There's definitely reasons for it, which I won't get into today because that's not really the topic of today's webinar. But the third thing I want to go into is tactics that narcissists use to keep their victims stuck in these relationships. I can't tell you, actually, I can't think of one client I've ever had who did not question this. Why didn't I get out? The thing is, when you're in the middle of a relationship with a narcissist, or really even in the beginning, okay, when you're high on them, you are blinded to the truth of what's going on. And this is done through many, many different tactics. We've heard of gaslighting. There's 5 different ways that they gaslight. There's so many things that they do, and many of them are below the radar. So as much as you may recognize, that may be 25% of what's really being done to you, because they do it through looks, they do it through inflections, they just do it through behavior. It's not always what they say, it's what they do and how they do it. So once you're stuck, it's very, very difficult to get out of these relationships. Very difficult. And if you're out of them, or out of one, congratulate yourself, because that's a very tough feat. So tactics that narcissists use to keep victims stuck in relationships. Okay, the first one is brainwashing. I talked about that. This is an imperceptible tactic that is used to take victims' minds hostage, psychologically blind them to the truth, and paralyze their ability to think independently. When you're on the outside looking in after the fact, you can see things, you can process things independently, you can do all these things. You don't recognize that you were unable and paralyzed while in this relationship. The second tactic is gaslighting, which I just mentioned. This causes victims to distrust their own judgment. So they're not sure if what they're experiencing is really abuse. And they will question that because the narcissist is always changing it up. The goalpost is forever moving. So you can never really figure the narcissist out. And so there's times where they may seem somewhat normal, quote unquote normal. There's times where they may even be kind. There's times where they may seem empathetic. They can sit there and cry at a movie. They could cry over a situation. So when those things happen, victims or targets of this kind of abuse question themselves. So they really see it, and then they go, maybe I'm wrong. Because look, she's crying, he's crying. Look, he did something so nice for me. I just think I'm imagining it. And that's deliberately done to you. The third one is intermittent reinforcement. This is love bombing that is used to occasionally throw victims off balance or prevent them from pulling away. This confuses victims by making them believe that the narcissist has changed for the better, which is all they really want. They don't want to break up this relationship. They want the narcissist to change. They want everything to get better. So intermittent reinforcement is this good guy, bad guy game where they will be brutal to you. And then all of a sudden, they'll do something really nice for you, or be really nice to you, or become the person that you've always wanted them to be, or maybe become sort of like the person you met in the beginning, which really was not who they are. It was a false representation of who they are. But they know what you want, and they can become that. The thing is, this is not their natural affinity. So they can't keep this up for very long. So it cycles. But it's enough to throw you off balance, enough to make you think that you're seeing things wrong. Because you're always going back to that beginning person, and you're always going, but I saw this person. I know this person can be great. I know they love me. And now here's evidence of it. Okay, so for whatever reason, this person just cannot show it to me all the time. And we'll work through that. We can work through that. But it's a tactic, and it's meant to confuse you. The fourth one is rage or silent treatment. This is terrorizing conditioning that causes victims to fear speaking up or leaving the relationship. Narcissists rage. They rage two ways. They rage loud or they rage silent. The silent treatment is called pernicious rage. It's a way that they rage without saying anything. And for many people, the silent treatment is way more painful than the raging, the outward loud raging. But all of it makes you grovel because you want it to stop, especially the silent treatment, because they'll keep it up until you grovel and you apologize for something you didn't do, or say, let's just put this behind us. I love you. And then you start to give them the narcissistic supply that they want. They're fed. Everything's good. Number 5 is devaluation. Persistent put downs that cause victims to feel unworthy of better treatment or a better relationship. You are devalued, you are put down, you are made to feel less than. And this is drilled into your head over and over in so many different ways. Every reason under the sun is used to show you how inferior you are. And you begin to wonder, is this the best I can get? Maybe I need to settle. Maybe I really am what this person is saying I am, Because why would someone who loves me keep telling me these things and trying to help me in a way where it seems like they love me and they want to help me, so they're giving me constructive criticism. But it's always criticism of some sort. Blame is number 6. Unyielding castigation that causes victims to believe that everything that goes wrong in the relationship is their fault. Well, they're told that it's their fault. They're blamed for everything. If you ever try to confront a narcissist about something that's bothering you, you will end up spiraling down into this rabbit hole where the conversation gets turned and turned and turned, and before you know it, they're blaming you. So you're always going to be blamed. And after a while, you begin to believe these things. Hoovering is number 7. This is a variety of underhanded tactics that are based on lies and manipulation that are employed to make victims feel guilty, believe there's a legitimate reason to return to the narcissist, or never leave them in the first place. So you may have gotten away, or you may feel like you're ready to leave, you're ready to pull away, and then something happens. So all of a sudden they get sick. This is a typical one. They tend to get sick. And what's really interesting about narcissists is they can get truly sick. They do it to manipulate you, but it can be medically, there's medical evidence of the sickness. And so they will make themselves sick in order to suck you back in and make you think you have to stay. And they'll say things like, when you had this, I was there for you. And now I'm going through this, I need you. Or after the fact, they may say things like, you may get a text saying that, just thinking of you, or saw so-and-so and thought of you. Or you may even get a message from so-and-so saying, I just ran into your ex and she says that she still loves you. It can be something like where they will text you and say, I'm sorry, that last text I sent was not meant for you, when in fact that last text that they sent was very provocative and meant to make you very jealous. So there's a whole bunch of things that they will use. And like I said earlier, a lot of this is plausible, so you can buy into it. Number 8 is triangulation. This is used to make victims believe that the narcissist is highly desirable to others and that they should feel fortunate to have won the prize. So you may hear them say, you know, it's been several years, but I just heard from my ex and she's like, you know, I really want you back. And I said to her, no, I'm in a relationship. And she's like, well, I will do anything to have you back. The message that's being sent here is, if you don't do it perfectly, if you don't step in line with everything I want and everything I say, somebody else wants me and I will leave you. And that's very scary. Number 9 is Stockholm Syndrome, or what is commonly known as trauma bonding. Victims they become dependent on their abuser to tell them who they are. And they become disproportionately grateful for small acts of kindness or crumbs of affection. They come to believe that they cannot survive without their abuser. They really fear that they will not survive. So their whole survival is based on this person. So that's Stockholm Syndrome or trauma bonding. Okay, now that we talked about all these things, what are some strategies you can use to deal with a narcissist in your life? And I never will call a narcissist your narcissist. I'm going to talk about the abuser in your life or the narcissist in your life, because this is not your abuser and it's not your narcissist. It just is an abuser or a narcissist. Okay, so one of the strategies, the first strategy I'll talk about to deal with a narcissist in your life, is to stay emotionally distant. If you continue to have to live with the narcissist, do not share any of your feelings, your emotions, the details of what you're doing. Be very guarded and don't show that you're upset. Narcissists feed on reaction and emotion. They need it from you. They need to solicit it from you. When you don't give it, they don't know what to do. And often they'll get nicer. First, they'll ramp it up because they'll try to solicit this from you, and then they get nicer. But that's a very short period of time. Now, this is not something that you can do for a long period of time. It's a temporary solution that can buy you some time. Number 2, do not give advice or tips. Anything that you say like that, your words will be taken as criticism and you will be lashed out against. You can't say it in any way, shape, or form. No tips. All of these things are perceived as criticism to a narcissist. And they cannot be criticized, so they have to lash out. Number 3, check your sense of humor. Narcissists have no ability to laugh at themselves. You and this narcissist do not find the same things funny, and that person is easily offended. So you may feel that you've been belittled. You're watching something and you're laughing, and the narcissist comes into the room and says, "What's so funny? I don't understand why you're laughing at that. You have a very weird sense of humor." Well, really, what they're doing is saying to you, "I can't be happy, so you can't be happy. Don't be happy." So you don't want to kid around with them. You don't want to try to be funny. It will not be taken right. It will provoke them. Number 4, postpone and delay rather than confront. If you feel like a conversation is not going well or you're being criticized, make excuses that will buy you time and cool the narcissist down. You don't want to confront a narcissist. You don't want to do what they do against them because you cannot win. They have ways. I was talking about it a little earlier about where you start a conversation and it just spirals down into this rabbit hole. And before you know it, the conversation has changed and you're being blamed. So standing up for yourself is useless. People say, "Well, I'm asserting my boundaries." It's not what you do with narcissists. Strategy is how you handle the narcissist, not confrontation. So the best way when they're acting out or you are starting to feel, really triggered, postpone, delay, say, "I've got to go to the bathroom now. I'll be back in a few minutes." And you go and you regroup, you ground yourself, or you say, "Listen, I'm kind of late for a meeting. Let's talk about this another time," because you want to get them off that topic. And what's interesting, there's so much interesting about narcissists, but one of the things that's interesting about them is once that thought is gone, it's gone. Okay? So if you can get them out of that thought, it may come back at another time because they may be using it to manipulate you, but it's not a pressing issue for them. It really is not, but they want you to think that it is. So postpone and delay to buy yourself time. When you speak to a narcissist, speak concisely, directly, and succinctly. The more you elaborate, the weaker your argument or whatever will appear. You don't have to fill in uncomfortable spaces, silences. Just say what you have to leave and leave dead airspace. We find ourselves just talking over ourselves to try to convince the narcissist of something because they're denying that what we say is real. They're just denying our impression. They're denying our opinion. And so we feel like we have to talk them into it. But it weakens your argument. It weakens what you have to say. Say what you have to say in 10 words or less. and then stop. Don't explain. And if they say, but why? Well, why? I already told you. And then you repeat those 10 words again. This is what I said. And they'll say, I know, but you're not telling me why. And you say, yes, I did. And you repeat it again. Don't get sucked into them wanting more information from you, because the only reason they're asking you those questions is because they want to pull you into this spiral conversation where they're going to take it over and you won't know where you are. You don't know what happened, and somehow you're always on the losing end of it. You'll find that they ask a lot of questions. Why? Why? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? They don't care why you did it. But when you answer, it's a way they gather information in order to hurt you more. Never negotiate with a narcissist. Narcissists do not compromise. Everything must be their way. They may negotiate with you to fool you into thinking that they will follow through with their side of the deal, but don't be fooled. They never do. Don't set yourself up to be frustrated and disappointed. This can be very alluring, because if there's something that you want that you've been unable to get from the abuser, and now they're trying to compromise with you and say, well, if you do this, I'll do that. It's very alluring. And you may want to do it, but I'm telling you, it will never work, because narcissists only want things their way. They don't want to compromise. They don't care how you see it, and they don't care how you want it. Number 7, do not give narcissists second chances. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. If the narcissist has made a promise and does not keep it, don't let him or her convince you that that they're going to do better next time. This will not happen. Follow through on whatever consequences you have set for crossing your boundaries. Don't buy into the lies over and over. Look at the past. That is who you're dealing with. They do not change. Not at all. They may get worse, but they're never going to get better. Number 8, manage the narcissist's wayward emotion and moods. Think of the narcissist as a child having a temper tantrum rather than an adult who has power over you. Try to allay his or her anxieties and fears. It's the narcissist's fragility, not high self-esteem, that causes them to bully you. Number 9, I'm going to move along a little quicker. Number 9, convince the narcissist that you are playing on the same team. Don't give the narcissist reasons to treat you like the enemy. This is going to take some acting on your part, but you don't want to be the enemy. Have no expectations. Your feelings are never going to be considered. Apologies will never be made. Responsibility for whatever happened will never be taken. Now, you may receive an apology, but it will not be a genuine apology. It'll go something like this. I am sorry that what I did made you get upset. They're not taking responsibility for what they did, all right? So really scrutinize the words. They do not genuinely apologize. How could they? If they never do anything wrong, they never believe they're ever wrong, why would they apologize? They're not going to. Accept that what you see is what you get. The narcissist will never change into the person you want him or her to be. Don't be conned or fooled. They don't change. The person that you saw in the very beginning was an actor trying to lure you in. That person did not exist. Who you're living with now or who you're dating now, the relationship that you're in now, this is who they are. So don't be fooled that they're going to go back to that other person. They're not. That person did not exist. Um, Except that you see what you get, okay? Don't take the abusive treatment personally. I know that's a hard one. This is a symptom of the narcissist's insecurities. It's not about you. And you'll come to realize in time that none of this was really about you. And there's a very simple equation here, or phrase that you can use to always understand this. With a narcissist, accusations are confessions. Accusations are confessions. What they're accusing you of, they are confessing to themselves. So it's never about you. They project. Stay focused on your personal objectives. Don't let them sidetrack you. And if you have goals, do whatever it takes to reach your goals. Just be patient and smart. Don't rely on the validation or support of the narcissist. Go for what you want to do and just do it. Don't be in their face with it because they'll make your life miserable. But go ahead and pursue your dreams. Exercise self-control. Narcissists are button pushers. They love reaction and they love drama. So just don't feed into the things that they do or say. Their words don't mean anything. The words are constructed to create an emotion or elicit an emotion or a reaction from you. So what they say has no meaning whatsoever. They don't believe what they're saying. They're saying it because they know you believe it and you will react. Never accuse or blame. Take responsibility for all your feelings by using I statements. Don't blame them. They can't be blamed. You will be on the losing end. Never demand or give ultimatums to sway the narcissist. Frame what you want to say in a way that appeals to his or her ego. Now, at some point, you get to the point where you really do not like this person and you don't want to appeal to their ego. You don't want to say nice things, but I can tell you, you can disarm a narcissist very, very quickly by giving them a compliment. And as much as you don't want to do it and it makes you sick to do it, you want to disarm them. Tell them how wonderful they are. Tell them how great they do things. Tell them how much you admire, whatever they do. Throw that in there and you will disarm them. And that's number 17 too, is stroke the narcissist's egos. Narcissists feed off of compliments. Nothing soothes them better than having their ego stroked. Number 18, do not show your fear. Narcissists use fear to control their victims. Don't show the narcissist that you're afraid. Be calm, be emotionless. Wear a poker face. This is all going to be acting on your part because they've already turned you upside down and inside out. And it's not easy to do these things, but these are the things that work. And number 19, the last one, is take nothing at face value. Narcissists lie and manipulate even when there's no reason to. Be discerning with everything you're told to avoid falling into their traps. Now, you may be wondering, okay, so this is all good and well, but how do I save myself and how do I save my children? So the first thing is learn everything there is to know about narcissistic abuse and have a full understanding of the kind of person you're dealing with. Don't have an illusion of who this person is. Understand what a narcissist is, because a narcissist is a narcissist is a narcissist, okay? They all follow the same pattern. Number 2, accept the situation you're in at face value. You will never understand the way a narcissistic mind works. Don't waste your energy and time trying. Narcissists are high conflict individuals, and they are motivated entirely by greed and envy, hate, self-preservation, and they never get better and they never change. Number 3, use proven strategies in dealing with a narcissist to keep the environment as cool as possible for you and your children. You want to keep the temperature in the home cooled down. All right, you don't want this to be flared up because this is not good for your children. Don't allow your children to be bullied or treated unfairly. Remove them from the situation as soon as possible by leaving the house or moving them into another room. Reinforce the fact that they didn't do anything wrong to cause that treatment, that it isn't about them, that it's entirely the other parent's issue. And for some reason, they're unable to control it, but it is not about you. Don't let your children be berated. Don't let them be castigated. Don't let them stand there and be destroyed. Get them out of the room. Number 5, get professional help to work through past and present issues. You can't teach your children skills for thriving in life that you do not have. And no matter how conscientious you are, if you're thinking that you're not doing it, you're not going to do it differently, because if you don't heal, your children suffer from whatever unresolved issues you have or whatever tools for life you have not really developed. So make sure that you're whole and healthy so that your children will be whole and healthy. Number 6, starting at a very young age. Use every opportunity to teach your children to trust their intuition more than what they are being told. This will help them recognize lies and manipulations when it is being used on them. You want them to trust their gut, because we all have it. We all know the truth. Narcissists make us distrust our intuition and listen to their words. We want to teach our children to trust their first instinct, okay? Not what they're being told. Never lie to your children, cover up, or justify the narcissist's abusive behavior. You know, as I said in one of the videos that I did, narcissists do not love their children, or anyone for that matter. And though it's painful for a child to accept that the other parent's love is conditional at best, deep down inside, that child knows it is not love. Don't tell the child that it is. Just let them be. Just be compassionate and loving, and reinforce to them, no matter what happens, I will always be there for you, and you can always count on me. And then make sure you follow through on every promise. But if they come home from being with the narcissistic parent and they're like, Mom hates me, Dad hates me, don't say, oh, no, your mother loves you. Don't do it. The child knows you're lying. They know it. They're not going to admit it, and they may not even know it on a conscious level, but they know it. And you want to be the parent who is completely trustworthy. Okay. Okay. If you've identified your partner or spouse as having narcissistic personality disorder, leaving them is inevitable. Things will never get better. They will definitely get worse, and in a number of ways. Consult with a reputable narcissistic abuse specialist or divorce coach who can help you to formulate a plan. Never leave on impulse. Don't ever leave on impulse. Make sure that you have a plan. The problems that will cause you and your children may not be reparable. Okay? Don't get in a huff and go. You need a strategy. Develop a team of professional support for the least stressful experience and the best possible outcome. If you're married, you will need a great divorce coach with an outstanding proven success rate. And the divorce coach will help you find the best attorney for your situation, which is something you need. Don't just pick an attorney because somebody recommended them. You need a specific kind of attorney. The attorney you retain will hugely impact the outcome. It can make or break the outcome. And it's imperative that you have an ongoing relationship with a narcissistic abuse coach or therapist who has, again, proven success. The emotional support that you will get will be invaluable to you through this ongoing difficult process. This is so multi-layered and confusing that there's always going to be mental health issues or confusion. And you need somebody to be able to set that straight. Okay, and then the last part is, how do I avoid falling into this trap again? Okay, I'm going to go through this quickly because I know we're running out of time. Trust your intuition. If something feels off, it probably is. Even if you're wrong, you must err on the side of caution to protect yourself, especially after going through what you're going through. You need to err. If you have to err on the side of caution, do it. If you lose a good person or misjudge a person, so be it. What's important is that you make sure you're okay. Number 2, be sure to heal completely from the first situation or the first relationship before attempting to have another relationship. Don't go into another one. You will repeat it. A primary part of healing involves deprogramming from the brainwashing. Brainwashing doesn't go away on its own. So you can physically get away from the abuser, but you're going to be continually controlled by the abuser. They're still going to be moving the levers in your head because their control is not on a cognitive level, okay? It's on a subconscious level, and you're still operating from their control. So if you don't deprogram, you're going to unwittingly choose partners who turn out to be abusive over and over. I see this all the time. Multiple marriages, multiple relationships with narcissists. It's usually the third one where people finally wake up to it. I don't want that to be you. Be aware of how you present yourself to others. Develop healthy boundaries, and don't let anybody cross them, not even a little bit, okay? You don't have to be nasty, but you have to be firm. You may be a kind, sensitive, caring, and understanding person, but when meeting new people, don't reveal those traits until you're certain you can trust them. Doing so is going to attract predators. I promise you. You cannot put that first. When dating, insist on taking things very slow. A respectful person is going to honor that. A predator may initially agree to it, but then you're going to notice that they soon begin pressuring you. Don't fall for it. Number 5, do not have sex or put yourself in a vulnerable position with someone new until the person has a track record you can trust. And as I said earlier, they use sex to get targets. You, psychologically and emotionally addicted to them. And once your brain is chemically addicted to them, it's nearly impossible to extricate yourself from that relationship, even if you know the person's wrong for you. Number 6, do whatever it takes to become resilient and self-sufficient in your life. Those who are independent and those who have healthy self-love will not tolerate any level of abuse. Learn how to validate yourself, internal validation, so you will not be reliant on anyone to tell you who you are. If you have children, constantly evaluate and monitor their state of mental health. Narcissistic parents begin programming their children from birth. And there will be residual issues. There will be. Address your concerns with mental health professionals as they arise. Mental health professionals that understand narcissistic abuse. And if your children need help, make sure they get it. This is a big one. People have the tendency to judge and criticize issues they don't understand. Narcissistic abuse is nearly impossible to understand for those who have not experienced it or are unaware that they have. You will be judged, you will be criticized. But in this, you will learn who truly loves and cares for you, who truly supports you, and who does not. Don't waste your energy trying to convince those who do not. Expect your circle of support to shrink. It will. It will grow later on when you're healthy. What happened to you was not your fault. Live your life with dignity. Hold your head high and be proud of the person you've become. Don't let this chatter from people who don't understand this bother you. Isolate yourself from it. Okay, so if you have any comments or questions, please email me at randy@randifine.com, and you'll see that up on the slide. My best-selling book, Close Encounters of the Worst Kind, 2nd edition, provides let me show you that, provides an unparalleled comprehensive education on all facets of narcissistic abuse. This is the book. And then the newest book I have, Close Encounters of the Worst Kind, comprehensive workbook, provides interactive, reflective, and proven strategies to manage the abuser in your life and promote healing from the complex traumatic effects of narcissistic abuse. It will empower you to reclaim your life in a healthy way. Be sure to visit my site, randifine.com. I have hundreds of articles on there. My booking page is there. And if you'd like to arrange an appointment with me, a session with me, you can do it right from my my website, from the booking page. You'll see what my schedule is, and you'll see what the rates are. And you can always first do a 30-minute consult with me. So to see if I'm right for you. I may not be. Please visit my YouTube channel, Randi Fine. The Randi Fine YouTube channel for more information on narcissistic abuse and a wealth of videos that may pique your interest. I thank you so much for being with me today, and I hope that you learned a lot in this webinar. It's been great having you. Thanks again. Bye-bye.